All right, let's go ahead and take this tower here. Push is going all right. Starting to stabilize finally in this run. You've got to be kidding me. What is it going to take to get this tower, man? I swear, this run is being so ridiculous. Wait, I won? I won! Welcome to the Maul Sylvanas guide. We've got Black Arrow as our first talent. It's very good on the defense and for clearing and pushing. Forsaken Fury is okay. I find that it takes a while to ramp up. You don't normally get the full effect. If you do use Forsaken Fury, just know you'll be building your push first. Execute Bloodthirsty is really good for the extra damage. The knockback is okay, but it's kind of hard to use. You could also use the cost reduction. Talent's not that important on that. Safe Pilot is really good. You can use Cloaking or Coming in Hot. Otherwise, you can use the Whelp Eggs with the Flame Burst. I think the Whelp Eggs are probably better on stage 2 because you get eyeballs and you can use those to blow up enemies more easily. We went with the Safe Pilot, however. Quillbore with Tunnel Vision and Bristleback. I prefer Bristleback. It's a stronger talent by far. I have Tunnel Vision selected because I perpetually forget to turn it off. Dark Spirit Troll with Big Bad Voodoo is really nice to augment your push and support Sylvanas, and it keeps him nice and healthy. If you want, you can run the Execute in this slot as well for the benefit. Bone Shield with Ghoul is your frontliner. It's going to make him really tanky, give him armored, and he's going to keep your push alive most of the time. And then Pumpkin Boy! This is the best unit in the comp. He's down 4 levels for this dungeon, and he's able to solo the second boss. He is insane. The Splashing Pumpkins and the extra range makes him a little bit safer to play. We're going to talk about dungeon mechanics so you know how to take advantage of them, and then afterwards I'll show you a full run of the deck. Maul stage mechanics. We have stage 1 with Stomper Kreeg. Enemy minis that fall below 70% health will attack each other. So optimal opener on stage 1 is to take the chest on the right with some strong damage, disrupt the push on the left by bringing them below 70% health so they attack each other, take the back left chest if you can, and then segue into taking the tower on the right to continue your push. What I like to do is I like to use Execute to make the enemies attack each other next to the boss, or early on in the fight next to the tower. So you can take the tower and you can disrupt enemy pushes this way. And it's really nice to use it on these expensive pushes where they have grunts and ogre mages for 10 gold, which kills all the enemies on the cheap. This is another strategy you can use where you use it next to a tower and the Huntress falls below 70% and her glaive bounces and damages the tower. Stage 2 mechanics. We have Immol'thar, who breathes heavy elemental damage and a cone in front of him. He has a slow turn speed. You gotta be careful to tank him with an elemental resist unit. Eye of the Void. This spawns anytime you place a mini on the field, shortly thereafter, and it will detonate and kill or damage heavily anything nearby. So the Meeting Stone is kind of a bait on this level. I think that you want to try and avoid placing things next to it or spawning from it because it will spawn an eye next to it, and the eye will immediately cap it back, and it will often kill things that are not very tanky. Next, you can use minis to blunt damage on your base. I use my Cold Bolt here to absorb a Prowler, and then I spawn some eyes next to it. You can see the eyes do a bunch of damage. Here we're using the principle here again to kind of spawn a lot of eyes next to these minis, and then we use a Quillbore to detonate the eyes next to the Ogre Mage and quickly make short work of it. Alternatively, you can place your minis further back so they run forward and the base will take care of the eye that spawns afterwards. 2 main strategies to win this are to take the tower on the right and then snowball a push on the right and kill the boss. The second strategy is to push from your base on the left through the Meeting Stone. Now, the more minis you play in a lane, the more likely the boss will answer that mini in the same lane. So we can take advantage of this. We can either use a large push on the left through the Meeting Stone, or you can do this cheeky strategy here where I use a Plague Farmer to rot the boss down on the left. He never answers it and it rots him 100% to 0. You can do it with Harpies too, with Quillbore and Cheat Death. Finally, stage 3 mechanics. We have King Gordok, who attacks faster the more he attacks. He is armored, so he takes reduced damage from physical. Chorush the Observer, who heals the main boss and himself and resets the fight if you don't kill him in one go. We have the Elf Mage Tendris on the right, who casts Curse of Exhaustion and dramatically slows movement speed and attack speed, and she swaps sides when you bring her to 10% health. Also, if the boss brings her to 10% health, she'll swap back. Crom Crush also swaps sides, and he applies a Mortal Strike debuff that halves Chorush's healing on the target. So, generally speaking, the Elf Mage is almost always a mandatory take, and Crom Crush can be a take depending on your applied strategy. The most consistent basic strategy, defend these orcs. Then on the right, you're going to establish your push to take the elf mage. It's very important to take her first to pull the boss to the right. You can spin her away with the quill bore and she'll curse it, and then that will allow you to take her easily. Then you're going to start spawning your units on the left in this bottom left corner. The bottom left, it's very important because it causes your units to walk on the outer edge of this ring. And since they're walking on the outer edge, as they approach Cho Rush, the observer, they will be more likely to engage him, and so it'll be easier to snowball a push and take him out of the fight. So we ran the dungeon multiple times to make sure the strategies are consistent. This is the strategy we came up with. Aegis of Bone, not very good. And the heal is not very good with Sylvanas either. So we go with Thief's Whistle to get a little extra peel when we deploy Sylvanas. Starting off, we want to try and take this chest. I should have deployed the Troll Headhunter to do so. We use Execute to cause Drunken Rage on the left and kill those minis. And we use the Quill Bore in the back to take the chest because it's early and we can definitely guarantee it. End up losing the chest because the ghoul doesn't do a lot of damage. It's not a damage dealer. We send a lone Pumpkin Boy on the left to deal a little bit of damage to the tower. He outranges it. Sylvanas will clean up on the right here. And you see, because she has such a long range, she can bring the minis down to Drunken Rage state, which is below 70% health, and they start attacking each other if they are not currently aggroed onto something else. You can see that the Pumpkin Boy splashed the ogres down a little bit, and this caused them to enrage and attack each other, and this basically cleaned up the push on the left. Just a single lone 2-cost on the left can do a lot, so we like to do that often throughout this run. We're going to start our push again on the right because we really want to secure this tower, and we noticed the right chest came up, so the left chest must have also come up relatively recently, so we send our Quill Bore back there to take it. Since we're beyond 230, it's unlikely he's going to spawn an Ogre Mage. We're going to use the Execute on the right to make these grunts attack each other, and we're going to send a lone Pumpkin Boy on the left to take this tower. Again, he outranges it, which is really nice. And any mini that passes it is likely to get splashed by the poison and start attacking each other. So this will end up cleaning up the Ghoul and the Ogre Mage that he spawned and give me time to continue my push on the right if I want to. I decided to try and get this Ogre to attack the tower over and over. He's in a feedback loop, which is really nice. If you can get the Ogre down to like below 70% and he's next to the tower, he'll just keep attacking it. And now I'm ready to take the tower myself as I push on the right and the chests respawn once more. I think about executing the tower, but there's no mini there. We want to use it on these back minis that are spawning because it will cause the boss to take a little bit of damage and it will cause him to clean up the minis for me. The Quill Bore will keep the tower on the left from regenerating, which is all I really care about because it denies the enemy from spawning any minis closer to my base. And now we can start developing our push on the right here. So this is the strength of Sylvanas, in my opinion, is if you can get a few ranged minis stacked and then a ghoul to get in front of her, the ghoul should be able to tank and redirect all the damage away from your ranged minis, and the ranged minis will pile up and do a lot of collateral damage to whatever they're attacking. Pumpkin Boys have a pretty long range. They're going to stack a lot of poison, and Sylvanas is going to do a lot of AoE damage, so anything that passes by might get caught in it and get killed as a result. So the splash from the Pumpkin Boys is doing work as it catches the ghoul. The poison is very highly stacked on the boss, and we bring him down very comfortably there. Round 2. Taunt is not very good. I don't like the Moccasins because it splits up your push, so we go with the Bloodlust because it can add a little bit of damage, particularly since it's less than 3 minis on the field. It's going to make it so Pumpkin Boy on the left is going to be a solo carry. So we try and clean up these spiders with our Sate, who does double damage to spiders because they're vulnerable, even though they have the resistant border. It's a glitch. Hopefully they fix it here soon. We're going to put Troll in front of our base just to prevent the Banshee from getting in there, and it's also going to allow the tower to help reinforce my Troll. And you see I sent my lone Pumpkin Boy on the left here, and we're going to push on the right because I believe the AI is kind of biased to match minis in the lane that you play. So since I'm playing a lot of my minis on the right, the higher cost ones, it looks like the boss kind of matches that. So Sylvanas is going to nicely clean up. The Defias Bandits act as a tank. If I didn't have those Defias Bandits, I might have played like Ghoul in front of her to make sure that there was something there, but not too far in front of her or the eyeball would blow her up. So you got to make sure you stagger the spawns or make sure that you play them at a close enough interval that they can walk away from the eyeball and not get blown up. So you'll notice here I spawn my Kobold in the middle, but my base on the right. That way the eyeball gets picked off by my base and the Kobold can safely mine. And the Pumpkin Boy, even though I didn't even look at him that entire time, he did about 60-70% of the boss's health. So now we're going to spawn another Pumpkin Boy on the left here, and we're going to continue defending on the right. We don't even need to look at the Pumpkin Boy. Who cares what's going on with Pumpkin Boy? Actually, we all care. But seriously, Pumpkin Boy is doing his work. All we need to do is make sure that the home is secured. So we defend the spiders with safe once again, and it's just rinse and repeat. Unfortunately, he spawned a few things there, but the Pumpkin Boy snuck past, and now all we have to do is hold the base on the left here, and you'll see Pumpkin Boy's poison's ramping up, and the boss is slowly ticking down. So that's all there is to this stage. If you use Pumpkin Boy, you just got to sneak him in on the left, and make sure not to spawn too much on the left, or the boss will match you. I decided against Bloodlust Epaulets because none of my minis should be tanking, so we went with the gold cost reduction to cycle a little bit better. It's not the best, but we'll take it. We want to just make sure that we don't take too much damage on our base, and this is a pretty standard opener here where we're trying to push towards the right. So unfortunately, I didn't really have a good, strong answer to these grunts, but I considered dropping my Pumpkin Boy on the left, but I'm afraid it might make Crom Crush turn too early, and then that push might occur too early. So I want to make sure that I snowball right before I snowball left. Now this was a little bit of a mistake. I dropped my Kobold on the left, and this is going to trigger the Crom Crush to walk forward and attack my Pumpkin Boy. So Pumpkin Boy actually outranges Crom Crush, and you can use him to turn Crom Crush and stack a poison without having to reinforce. Also, Execute does a lot of damage to Crom Crush, so if you want, you can do like 30% damage to Crom Crush and kill him that way. But you see my Kobold walk forward, it caused Crom Crush to walk forward, which caused my Pumpkin Boy to be in range, and then now I lose my Pumpkin Boy, so I have to restart my push. But you see here, I spawned everything at the bottom left corner, and now they're hugging the outside of the lane, and this is going to set up my kill on Cho Rush, the blue ogre mage at the top. So they're all walking forward on the left here, and you see my push on the right is holding pretty well. I'm probably going to lose that ghoul here very shortly, but the Curse of Exhaustion is doing work and keeping the boss away. You see the Quillbore was actually biased to walk towards the boss, but he somehow ends up walking towards Cho Rush. When you spawn at the bottom left corner, it increases the likelihood that your units are going to walk and crash into Cho Rush and kill him first, which is the objective, because unfortunately the Mortal Strike that Crom Crush applies to the boss is not very relevant for reducing the healing. He just heals so much that it doesn't matter. So now we have a really nice crash into the boss, and that's game. So that's how you consistently take down King Gordok with Pumpkin Boy and Sylvanas. If you like the dungeon mechanics section, please let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me tailor my content in the future. Thank you all for watching. Catch you on the flip side. Take it easy. Peace. Pumpkin Boy.